Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John, and this is kind of a follow-up video to something that I do every year over on my main channel. If you didn't see it already, I always react to my Spotify Wrapped, the end of the year thing that they put together where they tell you like your top streamed songs and albums and artists and everything like that. I always feel like it's a little bit inaccurate, so at the end of 2018, after getting really disappointing and kind of off-kilter results that I didn't fully trust, I signed up for Last.fm. I wanted to scrobble everything that I was listening to on Spotify to ensure that I got an accurate representation. I know this is super late, but I'm finally getting around to it. Last.fm emailed me and said that your last year on Last.fm, your 2019 counted, is here. And I told you guys that I would probably do a reaction to that to see how it stacked up against what I got with my Spotify Wrapped results. So let's unwrap this thing that's not actually wrapped, it's Last.fm. Just a refresher in case you didn't watch the Spotify Wrapped video or you were too lazy to go back and remind yourself of it. Weezer was my top played artist according to Spotify, and my most streamed song was embarrassingly Blame It On My Youth by Blink-182. And I'm not gonna re-explain myself there. I'm not a fan of the song, but I reviewed the song and I reviewed the album, and it added up to be a lot of plays. Moment of truth time. Did it actually add up and line up with what Spotify said, or have we all been lied to? I'm clicking on my Last.fm report now. Revealing it to myself, I've waited weeks for this, and let's see if it actually adds up to be anything exciting or controversial if it's super different. Your last year is here. So apparently I have a new record because this is my first year ever doing it. So obviously the end of 2018 versus all of 2019, I scrobbled 11,677 songs, which was up 1,371%. Good job, John. For overall artists, I scrobbled 741 unique artists, which put me in the 71st percentile. I think that means that I did more than 71%. Yeah, I listened to more artists than 71% of all of the Last.fm users. I also did 1,535 albums. Wow. And that puts me in the 77th percentile. And then 5,275 tracks, which puts me in the 92nd percentile. I listened to more tracks than 92% of other Last.fm users. Step up your game. Here's what we all want to see. Weezer was indeed my top artist once again. That makes sense. Spotify didn't lie. I did a Weezer ranked last year where I listened to all of their albums extensively, so that totally makes sense. 284 scrobbles for Weezer. Blink-182's 9 got 135 scrobbles. That's crazy. Falling Apart by Broods was my top played song with 17 scrobbles, and that doesn't surprise me. That was really a comforting song for me, but that's wildly different than what they gave me over on Spotify, is it not? 2019, are you kidding me, Spotify? I just started feeling better about 2018, and now you've put Blame It On My Youth as my top song of the year? Whatever, I'm definitely taking it. I'm not complaining, Last.fm, okay? It's not Blame It On My Youth, so I'm happy. Okay, let's look at the full charts here and see what my most played artists overall were. Weezer is number 1, Blink-182 is number 2, Foo Fighters at number 3, Radiohead at number 4. Yes, I'm already liking this more. This is definitely a little bit different than Spotify's Cage the Elephant at number 5. It's nice to see Radiohead up there because I've definitely listened to them a lot, but they're also the only one in the top 5 that I didn't do like major coverage on in terms of like a ranked or a top 10 or something like that. But outside of that, outside of the top 5, we've got Sum 41, Slipknot, Foals, which is great. I definitely spent a lot of time listening to them over the course of the year. And Tool, Broods, Bring Me the Horizon, Green Day, of course, you know they're going to be on the top 20 somewhere. Harry Styles, The Strokes, Raconteurs, Vampire Weekend, and Queens of the Stone Age. These are all definitely ones that I would expect if you put a gun to my head and said, name your top 20 artists. I mean, I would probably get most of these right. Microwave, Fall Out Boy, Billie Eilish, The Japanese House, The Jonas Brothers, hell yeah, of course. AFI, Ariana, Coldplay, Maroon 5. That's because I did a ranked episode on them, okay? No hate in the comments for that one. Even if I was, that's my own prerogative, but I'm not most of the time, except for their first 2 albums. Wallows, Wolf Alice, Brockhampton. You guys get the point. I don't really want to go through the entire thing. I'll quickly scroll so that you guys can see. but this is definitely something that feels pretty standard to me. I'm surprised to see Paramore at number 50, but I guess I do listen to their music on like vinyl and even CDs in my car too, so that doesn't factor into scrobbling from Spotify to Last.fm, of course. I'm really curious about this next one, my most played albums. I've never seen a breakdown of this before, not even from Spotify, so I'm very, very curious here. 9 by Blink-182 was number 1, and Don't Feed the Pop Monster by Broods was number 2, and it was very close. 135 scrobbles for 9 and then 121. That basically means that no, I didn't listen to the album that many times. It just means that tracks from that album I listened to a total of 135 times. Social Cues coming in hot at 3rd, and then Good at Falling by the Japanese House, Fine Line by Harry Styles, Help a Stranger by the Raconteurs, and When We All Fall Asleep. Ginger just under that, 1 scrobble less. This whole 5 through like 9 section is extremely tight, all between 78 and 74 spins total. And then we got Thank You Next. A lot of those are just thanks to Bad Idea and the fact that obviously I reviewed the album and streamed it on Spotify. I've gotten this question a lot and I have answered it before, but for anyone who's watching this and you're curious, how often do you listen to an album? Like how many plays do you give it before you put out a review? I listen to everything at least 3 times. Yes, even the bad albums, even the greatest of albums, 3 is the minimum, and for a lot of albums, it takes even more than that. Of course, that doesn't factor in the advanced streams that I get from the labels, because those are not connected to Spotify. Those are watermarked streams, normally through Holix or a similar service like that, Sony's Jukebox, or whatever the artist management is sending over to me. That doesn't count, so if I stream that a lot over there, then it doesn't count towards my Spotify streams. Death is a Warm Blanket by Microwave, that's nice to see. Father of the Bride makes sense just because that was such a long album. Of course, 72 scrobbles doesn't seem that high. Sing the Sorrow by AFI, I just jammed that record a lot because yes, I did review it, but also I just kept coming back to some of the songs from it after I reviewed it because I fell back in love with it. Dedicated by Carly Rae, that's gonna make a lot of people happy to see that at number 14. Berkeley's on Fire, Hail to the Thief. Igor by Tyler, the Creator. I know some people are like, John, you didn't review it, and it's like, yeah, I didn't review it, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't listening. Titanic Rising, Happiness Begins, unfortunately, just because I listened to that album a lot, I was conflicted, I wanted to solidify my opinions on it. Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone, The Bins by Radiohead, good stuff. As we continue scrolling on through, you see a lot of what I did review on the channel, some other things that I didn't necessarily give dedicated reviews to, but I've talked about in some form or another, like Heart Attack Man, Fake Blood, fantastic, borderline offensive album, but in the best way because it's so sardonic and twisted, good stuff. Bayside's in there, Tool, Peach Club by Emerosa, Hosier's Wasteland Baby, unfortunately MCID in there, didn't work out very well. It's an interesting collection here. Everything from the Mountain Goats to A Day to Remember, Ben Folds 5, Bring Me the Horizon, Fall Out Boy, and Silver Sun Pickups. Moving on to the final category, I'm really interested in this one. My most streamed tracks overall for 2019, the songs that I played the most. I listened to 5,275 unique songs last year, apparently, which put me in the 92nd percentile. And over on the full chart, past the top track that we already saw, which was Falling Apart by Broods. Blame It on My Youth. Oh, thank God. Thank you, Broods, for eclipsing that. We had the total eclipse of the heart, and part of that could have to do with the fact that Spotify stops counting data, or data, however you want to say it, in October, I believe, and now this collected all of 2019, so I probably gave a few extra spins to Falling Apart between when I did the video and the end of the year, and thank God my 2019 didn't just end with me having Blame It on My Youth on top. Dust by Broods, Sunday Driver by the Raconteurs. I know I listened to that song more than what's showing up here, but again, part of that is thanks to me having the album on vinyl. Too Proud by Broods, Cage the Elephant's House of Glass, cracking at number 6. 14 spins for that one. Ball Without You by 21 Savage. Better by Jetty Bones at 13. Watch What Happens Next, Happy Days, and then several Cage the Elephant tracks. I listened to that album a lot. Good stuff there. I did kind of burn myself out on it a little bit, but that's my own fault. A couple of Folds tracks as well. Scumbag featuring Blink-182. Yeah, I listened to that song over and over when I really got into it. NASA by Ariana Grande. I'm surprised, did we not see Bad Idea already? Because I don't feel like this is accurate. I see Makeup, but where the hell is the song that I actually, only 9 for Bad Idea. I don't find that to be accurate. Last.fm so far, I had definitely been trusting this, but I know I listened to that song way more, and I always streamed it on Spotify because I don't own a physical copy of Thank You Next. Okay, I got a little ahead of myself there, so back up. We see a couple of Billie Eilish tracks, Bring Me the Horizon. We're still over the 10 point. Straight to My Head by Yumi at 6. It's nice to see that in there because that is a 2018 track, but it made it in 2019. That's just such a catchy, well-done song. That one and Fast Forward are so good. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Fast Forward as well, but I haven't seen it so far. There's a lot from albums that I just streamed a lot that were in my top 20 best of the year, including a few Swimmers tracks, People by the 1975, No Flex by Tiny Meat Gang. Shout out, their new track is a banger. Go check that out. That's up on Cody Co's channel. Let's navigate back just in case. We've got a few other reports here. Obviously, top tags make sense. Rock, alternative, indie, pop. And then I listened the most on Fridays, which makes sense because new albums come out on Friday. And I listened most actively between 3 to 4 p.m. That's really interesting, but it also, again, makes sense. I sleep late, and then I wake up, and then I start streaming stuff, and then I probably get really active between that time period, and then I film a lot of my videos in like the late afternoon. So yeah, that's kind of weird to see it pegged down like that. You're creeping on me, Last.fm, but I also told you to creep on me, so I can't get mad. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this video. What did the comparison show us? It showed us that Spotify was a little bit off, and also they don't count the entire year, which isn't obviously a full representation, so I liked this more. It was a lot more in depth, it was easier to navigate, and if you want to see me do this again next year, then please drop a like on the video, and I'm sorry again for this being so late. It should have come out sooner in 2020, but I got a little busy and it got put on the back burner. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you happen to be new to my channel. Check out me reacting to my Spotify Wrapped for 2019 and the end of the decade by tapping this card here. I promise it's a fun one. And then tap here for another banger that I put out recently on Beyond. Socials can be found in the description, including my Patreon page, which will definitely go towards me purchasing Last.fm Pro in the future. And I'll see you guys soon for more right here on Beyond ARTV.